Now we're going to install our WordPress network or multi-site feature using the subdomains. And I've already deleted and reinstalled WordPress. As you can see here, all this is brand new because, as I mentioned earlier, once you choose between the subdomain or the subdirectory feature, you cannot change your mind. So naturally, whenever we made the video on subdirectory, we had to wipe the slate clean to be able to install the subdomain network. So let's go ahead and, oh, and by the way, for those of you that need to be reminded, also here on the WordPress.org site under the Create a Network, gives you a little bit more of a detailed description of the difference between the subdomains and subdirectories, at least ways what they look like. Whereas a subdomain, basically the name comes before the top level domain, and the subdirectory, pretty much just a folder or the name comes after the top level domain. Okay, enough of that. Let's go ahead and install our WordPress network using subdomain. We go to our dashboard, and pretty much it's the same thing that we did before. So I'm just going to go through it pretty quick here, and don't forget you've got your pause button on the video here to, kind of catch up if you fall behind a little bit. So let's go back here, and I'm going to need, right up here, step 3. I need this guy here. Copy that in my clipboard. Now, this time around, I'm going to use the cPanel instead of the FTP, just to give you another method or another view of a way to access these files, the wp-config or the wp-config.php file and the .htaccess file. So here I'm logged into our cPanel control panel. Come on down here to File Manager, left click on that, and right now I'm in the root directory. And let me see here, what do we need? First off, let's go with, the wp-config, because I've got that multi-site thingy. That's the first step we want to get into. So now that I select the wp-config.php file and just right click, or you can do the same thing up here by just right click and then left click on edit. It will give me this. I just click on, edit. And then we come on down here to, don't forget the beep beep, that's all folks thing. And I know now you won't forget it. But right here, go right above this guy here to add in that line of code that I've got in my clipboard. And then we come on back up here to save changes. And that is that for now. Now let me come on back to the dashboard. And if you recall, under the Tools section, we should now have one for Network. Let's go ahead and refresh the page. Click on Network. And you can give it a name. You can change the admin email if that's what you want to do. But that's basically the way that it is right now for the purpose of our site. This is going to be just fine. Click on Install. Now, and we've got these things we have to add to our wp-config. Copy that in my clipboard, and these go into the .htaccess. So let's go on back to our cPanel file manager. Open this guy back up. It's still selected from before. And come up here and click on edit. Get this guy out of the way. And again, come on down here to where we were before. That's all. Stop editing. And remember, we're going to leave this one alone, the one we just put in here, and just below that, paste in that code. Come on back up here, save, and back to File Manager. Now we're going to need to get into the .htaccess. And if you don't have one, which frankly you probably will, but if you don't have one, this is what you can do is on your computer just create a text file, name it htaccess, just like this is spelled here, and then upload that to your root directory. Then once it's uploaded, then select it, rename it, get rid of the .txt at the end, just delete that, and at the beginning put a dot. That way you now have a .htaccess, and the little icon here will change as well, and it will now be invisible to all except for you. And now you've got your own htaccess, and it'll be blank, but what you can do then is just follow the instructions given to us here on the dashboard. Let's go ahead and click on edit here. Now then it's ready to go, but let's head on back here to our Create a Network and add the following to your htaccess file in the root directory, replacing other WordPress rules. Remember, up here, this is in addition to. Down here it's replacing. So we just copy all of this and copy into the clipboard. Come on back here. And okay, now this is the rewrite engine. What I want to do is right in here between the beginning WordPress and the ending WordPress. So I'm not going to replace everything in here, just this right here. So if on your htaccess file it has something that says begin WordPress, end WordPress, then you want to paste that code right in between those two. Click on Save Changes. Going back to the File Manager. And come on back here. What else we got to do? We're done. Click on Login. Oh wait, before we do that, I wanted to also point out on the FTP client here, just going to refresh. This is the new install here, by the way. Just want to refresh, and oh yeah, we also have to create that blog.dir directory as well. But I just want to show you as far as the subdomains that there are none right now, and that's going to change here in the near future, but we'll get back to that here in just a second, so just remember that. Okay, and I skipped this step right up here where we need to create a blog dir. See, it helps if you go step 1 then step 2. That's why they've got these things numbered. Anyway, so no harm, no foul. Let's head on back over here to our file manager. So before we log in, we got to do step 1. Now we just go into WP content, select that, open that up, come up here to new folder, and that's blog.dir, create new folder. Make sure that the permissions are writable. So I right clicked on that, on down here and change permissions, left click on that. Make sure it's 755 at minimum, if not 777, but this will work just fine. Click on change permissions if need be, but that's cool. Okay, so we're good there. Move on up one level. We're back to the root directory, and I believe that covers all the steps. Maybe not so much in order, but that covers all the steps. Now then, click on Login. That's an important part. Got to do that. Now we've got our WordPress network set up using the subdomain, and just to point out that under the Sites section, I had mentioned this earlier, you can see now that the big difference between all these guys here is just this. Whereas the site address is the subdomain, whereas before it was a subdirectory. And you can see that this is just a little bit different here, but aside from this, everything else here in the super admin section, which again we'll cover later, is exactly the same as the subdirectory. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on how to create a WordPress network using the subdomain method. Thank you very much for watching.